For a student, the increased cost of education, for even if it's just an additional 100 students, is still $120,000 worth of education. I think one of the things that has to be considered, or several things that have to be considered, would certainly be the number of children in new residences, impact on parking and traffic, as you've mentioned. But one thing that wasn't mentioned, and it's mentioned in the study called Coping with Growth, is the impact on sewage and water costs. Sort of interesting, in Oregon they had 5 new developments, and the only ones that seemed to be not affect the government costs, or local government costs, was one 16-family apartment with no children. So there may be some impact with some of these houses. Of course, we're limited to raising some of the taxes that for property taxes. This may have some impact if we do have additional children entering the school system as well as the system.
Thank you. Our next question, we'll start with Jerry, and it has to do with crime. Considering the crime statistics in this economy, how do you propose to maintain safety in our township?
Thanks. It's a very, very important question. It's a critical question to every one of us. And I think every one of us at one time or another has been in a meeting in this building or in other buildings in town talking about the crime issue. And we all know that the difficulties in the economy are correlated with an increase in crime. Those are facts. Another fact is that the Township of Maplewood spends more money on public safety, on police and fire, especially on police, than any other department in the community. We have an exemplary police force. That needs to be said again. We have an exemplary police force. There's crimes in town, they're cleared ridiculously quickly. The Township Committee received a report of a crime where the person was arrested and incarcerated within 5 hours of there being a report of the crime. So the real answer to the question, what do we do to maintain safety in our township, is first and foremost to continue that investment in strong, proactive policing, and to make sure that our police are able to work as effectively as possible, that they have the resources that they need to be as effective as they possibly can throughout the community. And I think we have a lot of good examples of that. We have examples of various engagements with the community that I wish I had more time to talk about. And so I think we should be pleased with and confident in our police department and the job that they do, even in these difficult times.
Thank you. Art?
As Jerry mentioned, we do have an exemplary, and he asked us to repeat it, so I'm going to repeat it. We have an exemplary police force, there's no question about it. What I'd like to see is certainly helping the existing police force by giving them the best technology that's available, giving them, starting to put in red light cameras, using LPR systems, license plate recognition systems. But I'd also like to add that maybe it might be worthwhile to reinvigorate neighborhood watch associations. I think it's important, just if a lot of you will remember the ads that are on TV saying if you see it, report it. I think that's an important factor. Using people in town to report these incidences that could turn into bad behavior. I don't know how many of you, I'm sure all of you have seen children walking in the street. Rarely is it reported. They're walking home from school in the streets. It's dangerous for them, it's dangerous for the drivers. We need to add some sort of a neighborhood watch, reinvigorate a neighborhood watch program. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And Kathy?
Yes. I think we need to, as Jerry said, continue our support of our very fine, our outstanding police department. We have a report from this 1 month this summer where 80% of serious robberies were led to arrests. That is a very high number for any town. I think what is impacting the incident that Jerry referred to and the numbers that I mentioned is the neighborhood and the interpersonal relationships that people are developing and the police department is reaching out to develop. Neighborhood associations, there's a new one being formed in East Hilton. I know when we had a major crime across the street from my own home, we had an immediate meeting with the police within the week. About 200 people came out. And there are suggestions right on the spot that the police make, and then they'll come to your home to do a safety survey also, which is really valuable. We've had meetings. The East Hilton area has met right in this room a number of times already. And what we're doing in doing that is asking the residents to let us know how we can make the community safer, whether it's crime or traffic or noise, whatever the situation might be. We are buying a license plate recognition system. But, you know, the technology is important, and we are sharing with South Orange on that, but the relationships, National Night Out, etc., are the key, I believe, to this.
Thank you. Our next question has to do with senior citizens. As the population ages, and we'll start with Kathy, what is your strategy for dealing with the future of the post office and the Maplewood Avenue property?
Well, actually, this morning we had our Economic Development Subcommittee, and we were talking about the post office, which has notified us that they're leaving in November of next year, so it's coming up. We've had our planners working on this area in town, not just the plot that the post office is located on, which is owned by the town, but adjacent properties that are owned by the town also. And in bringing in the planners, we've had community meetings, which have included the Maplewood Village Alliance and the businesses, the Chamber of Commerce, etc. So there's been quite a bit of discussion. We've also had a parking study, and there are recommendations in that. We've also brought in experts from Columbia University as planning and architectural pieces that can fit in and take all these reports and continue our dialogue with the community. King's is very interested in moving across the street. They'd like a larger space. They are looking to do their carry-out business in a new area. One thing that we are being very strong about and want is to have a presence for a front-end post office business, mailboxes, stamps, packages, etc. So that's it. Thanks.
Thanks. Jerry?
Wish I had more than a minute and a half to answer this question, because this is probably the most exciting thing that's going on in Maplewood. Most exciting thing that's been going on for a really long time, and it's something that's very important that's going to shape the future of the Maplewood Village District, the commercial use, and the look and feel of our town for generations to come. I've been deeply involved in the planning that's been going on with this project. It's a long, involved process to try and build a broad buy-in from the community, buy-in from the business districts, input from residents throughout the town, public meetings with help from professional planners about what is possible in that space. We've had some great conversations. We've expanded our thinking and come up with a lot of different options that we're exploring. At the recommendation of several business owners and members of the Maplewood Village Alliance, we brought in some university experts to help us with what is possible to be done in the downtown area. I want to see King's moved across the street. I want to see it moved into an attractive, yet modest building with some additional commercial, residential uses upstairs, good design for parking and traffic flow. I want to make sure that the project enhances the open space in the village, and as well as the commercial space. And basically, I want a project that we're going to be proud of for the next 50 years.
Thanks. And Art?
I agree with everything that was said just now, except for the residential use of the property. One of the things, and I'm going to make it very short, I think the one thing that we have to be very well cognizant of is that what we don't want to do is lose the picturesque Rockwellian theme and feel of our village. It's one of the biggest attractions the village has, or the town has, is people walk into, I know my wife's a real estate agent, and one of the first things she shows people is the village. And that's one of the biggest draws. So we have to maintain the feel of the village. Other than that, I agree.
Thank you. And Kathy? Oops, did you word it? I'm sorry.
I can keep going.
Okay, so the next question, Jerry's turn, and it has to do with the arts in Maplewood. What do you see as the value of the arts in the township's economic development efforts?
Everybody likes to talk about how Maplewood is an arts destination, and they like to talk about it because it's true. It's not just a place that people come to experience and enjoy the arts, though they do. We have a nice little theater, we have amateur and professional groups performing there. It's incredibly busy, the town really supports it. We have an art gallery, we have several commercial art galleries in town. This is a place that people come to for the arts, and it's got such a reputation as an arts community that people who are in the arts come here to live. There's a lot of famous people in theater and in movies online in front of you getting a cup of coffee. That makes it an exciting place to live. What we need to do is leverage that and take advantage of the benefit that that provides and the feel that we have in this town of being an arts community. That's why in very recent past, I led an effort on the Township Committee to reinvigorate the township's linkage to the arts community. We used to have an organization called Arts Maplewood, very strong, very effective, very involved in producing arts events. We eliminated that organization and changed the focus to create a Maplewood Arts Council. Instead of having people who produce arts, we have people who are bankers and investors and community people and involved in the schools who are helping us figure out ways to promote businesses with the arts and promote arts with business. We had an arts walk in Maplewood this past year. It was terrific. I hope that's the first of many wonderful projects that the Maplewood Arts Council does.
Thanks. And Art? Speaking about art.
Obviously, being one of the arts, I see enormous value in the arts. In fact, I believe that our many arts programs, musicians, artists, authors, are some of the contributing factors that make Maplewood such a destination. What I propose and suggest is that we do, in fact, appoint from the Township Committee an arts liaison. Jerry mentioned this Arts Center program. I think it's great, and that should be somebody who is a liaison between the Township Committee and the arts. And when I'm elected, I will certainly volunteer to be one of the arts liaisons. Thank you.
Kathy?
Well, arts to me is a very key part of any culture. It is a feeding of our humanity. And I think Maplewood is very, very fortunate to have such a rich arts community, as Jerry was describing. We have within our adult community, but also within our schools, and the way our schools look at arts from all different perspectives is very enriching for our children and for the community. And the local arts program like ours, both visual and performance, also produces positive relationships in other ways. There are people making financial contributions to the arts, residents that are thrilled to have and believe that the arts that we have in Maplewood help make our town what it is. There are businesses that are prospering because of going out to dinner, for example, before or after a performance. There are people that are getting to know the town better with the Arts Walk and the 1978 summer visiting program to the different studios. And then there's the purchasing of materials for whether it's visual arts or performance arts that feed some of our businesses also. So I think our community is well served, and so are the talents of